What's going on? So I watched Angry Joe's review for what is it, Skull and Bones. I've seen Arlo's take on Ubisoft. I have seen a little bit of gameplay for that one game that looks like Uncharted. I think it's called Outcast, the 23-year-old game that got renewed, which is probably better than Skull and Bones and Star Wars Battlefront, which when Star Wars Battlefront got reissued, I mean, you have reissues. If it's not technically bad games or anything like Starfield or Fallout 76, it's microtransactions. Microtransactions aren't bad because they're in the games. Microtransactions and live services are bad because they direct the games. All the game revolves around that, right? So, are we at a point now? And you got between my R wing here, right? That is used for primarily one game, right? So between my R wing, which is a lot of fun to just play around when you're bored as fuck, you get the Steam Deck here. You got the Switch, and I defend this Switch for one big reason. Um, have we peaked? Have we truly peaked for video games? And all that's left are the pretty graphics. Like all that's left are realistic graphics. Like if I told you right now, you're not watching my table, you're watching PlayStation 7 graphics, but it does the same thing as a PlayStation 3 game or 4 game did 20, 30 years ago. You know what I mean? Like what's there? What's fucking left? Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag is the peak pirate game. Red Dead Redemption 2 is the peak cowboy game, right? Cyberpunk is the peak of, dark dystopian future, but it's open world. What's the ultimate racing game? Forza? Forza Horizon? I mean, I keep getting updates for that game on the Steam Deck. And the Nintendo Switch is the final portable system that has interchangeable cartridges. You don't have to put everything on download. This you have to keep, everything has to be downloaded. This one is not. You could get some emulations if you want, but you could get physical cartridges, which are more reliable than discs, and stick them on here. But it could only play games from as far as those last gen games up to like Xbox 360 and PS3. The peak space game would be No Man's Sky. However, you may want to do more than just explore dead planets and look for dead ships. You'd want to do more. So maybe I go back to my old console there, the Wii U. The Wii U would have where that R wing is. You go to the Wii U for Mass Effect, or you can get Mass Effect on the Steam Deck if you want. It all depends on how you feel. Board games. I talk about the Star Trek chess. Okay, and then if it's not Star Trek chess, it's a little bit of Rubik's Cube, a little bit of Perplexus puzzle games. There's so much going on with these kind of games, with these kinds of systems, that what's left? If nothing could outdo No Man's Sky and Mass Effect, if nothing could outdo Fallout 4, Fallout 3 actually, Fallout 3 being the peak, if nothing could outdo Skyrim or even the last Zelda game, right? If nothing can outdo these games, what's left? So you get a PlayStation 6. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a shit? If the gameplay is like 5% less than what you got 5 years ago, then why even get a PlayStation 6? Why get a PlayStation 7? You're not getting a PlayStation 6 or 7 to get the just to collect everything, are you? Like you're one of the few people that has to buy every Sony product. Oh, I have a Walkman from the 80s. I have a Sony DVD player from Japan. It was unique looking, Some people collect GameCubes. Some people have the GameCube with the DVD player on it, the one that was only in Japan. But you're not collecting for that. You're collecting for the fucking games. So at this point between the microtransactions, and some people will say, oh no, this black trans person, there could be narratives where you have a woke person who is of color, who is transgender or transsexual, but this person's making the microtransactions and loot boxes and live services. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who or what, where those live services stupid ideas came from. Just that they were there and they directed the games. Suicide Squad, what a mess. You're better off with Lego DC Supervillains or Scribblenauts, DC superhero Scribblenauts, or the original Arkham trilogy. What are you wasting your time on this for? You're better off with Spider-Man than Suicide Squad. You know, so I think I'm at a point where I'm just collecting old games. The game I played was 10 years old. Did I have fun? Yeah. I think I'm learning with No Man's Sky. I'm approaching it like Zelda. And you have to spend more time in your spaceship to find things and explore things. Um, you just do a little bit of exploring on each planet, and then you go to the next one. It's all randomly generated. So there's some weird technology that I have not seen yet. AR games. Nintendo did a little bit of that. Young Conquer, as ugly as those graphics were the peak of like what is it like to have an AR game with a platformer on it. Nintendo's done every weird toy. VR games, right? If it's not Nintendo Labo VR, it's Oculus Rift, it's PSVR, it's HTC, right? The Vibe. Uh, there's just so much, and that's what we're at a point now where I just don't even give a shit about the newest game. I don't care about the newest game. You hang on to your games so that you don't lose them, so that they can't just wipe them off your hard drive. That's like this here, okay? I'll always have the physical games for this. Princess Peach Showtime, I'm going to get the physical game for that. I heard that Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake got sold out, the pre-orders. So that's an interesting thing. And whether or not I get to play that when it comes out, I don't care. I just want to play what's interesting. I have the original Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. I have Super Mario RPG. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. The games that have the most value, I sound like Uncle Tim, but Uncle Tim has like 3 or 4 GameCubes, and he has like 5 Super Nintendos. The guy's got like too many damn. You see my house. I either have cool shit in my house or I don't have it. I mean, at this point in my life, I have enough stuff to just last me. I was working. What was I doing? I was doing a role playing game. You know, like I was doing a role playing game using characters from this encyclopedia. Okay, from Masters of the Universe. Like role playing game where you could role play. You could roll like a 6 die or toss a coin, and you get all these characters, and you're writing a story basically. It's Dungeons and Dragons, D&D without complicated math and complicated things, just like simplifying things. You have a few seconds to do this before the enemy attacks. You can only go certain number of, it's like Oregon Trail. And I made the game myself, and I put it on my tablet. Okay. This Samsung tablet here, I write the story out, and the objective is for the main character to go back to where he is, or if there's an enemy nearby, I toss a coin for that. Items, are there magical spells? Can this character be a magician and do a magical spell? There's an endless combination of stories you can get out of this one encyclopedia to make a game. Star Trek chess, you know where I stand with that. I play that all the time. Puzzles. We're at a point now where we don't have to wait for the next system anymore. We don't have to wait for the next console. We don't have to wait for shite. Nothing. Because we have these games already. Black Flag is on the Switch. Skyrim is on Switch. Minecraft is on Switch. Fortnite's on Switch. It was one of the first things I downloaded. Okay? And No Man's Sky is on the fucking Switch. All this stuff that we're looking at now, it's already there. What the PlayStation 6 or 7 does, what the virtual console for Xbox. Okay, when we think of virtual console, we think of Nintendo. But watch them get lazy about Series X afterward and to just make a virtual console for your PC Windows. They're just not going to do shit anymore. The next Nintendo system. It's just going to make prettier graphics that are like PlayStation 4.5 graphics because they're not worried about that. Okay. Everything else would be like Google Stadia or On Live. Maybe Twitch will come up with their own console that's not really a console. We just have so much now that we have peaked. Video games have fucking peaked. All that's left are the pretty graphics and sound. That's it. That's it. People make fan games, they upscale things, they turn on the anti-aliasing or turn it off. They figure out the physics. They rewrite a little code here and there, some cosmetics, and you have a brand new game that the big companies will take too long to make. And some people buy these these smaller companies. In the case with Microsoft and Rare, and they don't know what the fuck to do with it. It's like, oh, I have this company, now I don't know what to do. Now I must make these games because I spent so much money into it, and people trust, and it's a high profile thing, and people trust me. Well, I mean, I see an event where people were attending this Kevin Bayless, okay, Grant Kirkhope, right? They went to go see these people in tribute to Rareware Games because they love that company, and I love that company. But now that company's shite. It's shit now, not because it wanted to be shit, but because fucking Phil Spencer doesn't give a shit. So there's that problem too. If it's not woke, it's I'm gonna buy a company and make it broke. Angry Joe, I thought Angry Joe was going to give a 2 for Skull and Bones. He gave a 3. How generous. That's a very generous 3 out of 10. So that's all I have to say for now. We're going to look at goth metal lore. I might voice a certain character or two or a real life person. I'm not sure yet. Let's find out. Let's find out what it's all about. But the game that you want to play now, the game that you want to play next, there are two kinds of games. Either it's a game you haven't played in a while, or it's a game you want to play next and it's already released and you thought that game is this game that's coming out. So check those games. Check those games. Look in the Reddit forums. Best pirate game. Best starship game. Best 2D starship game. Everything you want to find, Reddit will tell you. The Reddit forums will tell you. And you can look around, you can ask around, word of mouth. But chances are you're not waiting for that game anymore. You're not waiting for it. It's already in front of you. Star Wars has done their bit, and you'd be better off with Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga, or Knights of the Old Republic that was on the Switch, that came onto the Switch. You're better off with that. You're better off. Don't waste your time with the new stuff. Just don't waste it. I mean, the last thing I got that was brand new was Ratchet and Clank. And I also got Miles Morales on the Steam Deck. There you go. Or you can just play Star Trek chess, whichever fancies the mind.